Hello and what is up everyone, it is Hachi from the Art of Dota and this is my patch analysis for the gameplay update 7.14 just out minutes ago, and already look at the first change there in the general changes. Techies is now in captain's mode. All hell has broken loose. Finally, every single hero in the game is now in captain's mode. There is no hero left behind, not even Techies. Now, is he going to be changed? We'll find that out as we scroll down. I have not read any of this yet. I saw the patch released. I look at it. I see Techies. This should be a good one. Anyway, moving on. The first creep wave also no longer draws aggro until the lanes meet. That means no more creep pull shenanigans. You can still creep block with things like Tusk Shards or Earthshaker Fissure, but no more creep pulling, no more random river lanes I've seen sometimes happen, where both sides will just pull the creep wave and then it'll meet in the river or just somewhere randomly in the jungle. That's no longer going to happen. The creeps will not take aggro from anything until they meet together. And that's just it for the general changes, but it looks like we do have a long patch. There should be a long patch analysis, not as long as Purges, but we'll see what we have here. Let me move my mic over to a more comfortable position. Hopefully this doesn't make any weird noises. Alright, so first thing off, Techie is in captain's mode. They got rid of the creep pull. This should nerf offlaners, of course. In addition, this might make Tusk even better, because now that heroes that you normally rely on just pulling the creep wave can no longer do that. They're less viable in the off lane, depending on how the rest of the changes go, but offlaners really are reliant on messing with the aggro so that they can get a lot of experience and then snowball the lane to the point where they can sometimes just even dominate the enemy safe laner. Otherwise, if they get zoned out, because of the snowballing mechanic of how denies get rid of so much experience, easily safe laners can gain like a 3 to 4 level advantage within the first even just 5 minutes of the game. And creep pulling was the main way to prevent that and actually get a lot out of the off lane, which in turn resulted in, for the most part, just a big advantage come the early to mid game. Like when one side has an offlaner that won the offlane and had a bunch of farm and experience, and the other side has an offlaner that's completely shut down, the game usually is just a straight stomp, ending within maybe even 15 minutes or something like that, which happened in like my last game here. Not to get sidetracked, but this is what it looks like when one side loses the off lane, one side wins the off lane. But anyway, going back to the patch, we'll see how that changes things, especially with the hero changes. But that's it for the general changes. Now moving on to the item changes, we have Skullbasher. Now uses Mithril Hammer instead of Javelin, and it also gives damage now and 10 strength. How much did it give before? I wish I could see, but I don't know. And Bash also no longer pierces evasion, which makes sense because it no longer has the Javelin component, which was kind of the anti-evasion item. But I like this change because Abyssal Blade felt relatively weak because it no longer gave damage. A lot of heroes would just go for the Nullifier over Abyssal, but now that it gives 25 damage again, makes it a little bit more viable. I still think it's very situational. Probably still only picked up by heroes like Anti-Mage and like heroes that naturally attack relatively fast, because I feel like Nullifier is just so much better, being able to guarantee that a target cannot BKB rather than just try to stun them while they're BKB'd and then hope for lucky bashes. It's just more reliable, right? And also gives more damage later on, which is what heroes are lacking actually. It's not usually attack speed, it's damage. But I mean, it's okay. It's okay change. And Abyssal Blade, the 25 damage just carries on over there. Now, for Monkey King Bar, now goes back to using Demon Edge, but no longer includes 2 javelins. Actually, it only used 1 javelin and then a quarterstaff. And also, it gives damage now. Plus 52 damage because of the Demon Edge and the quarterstaff. And it also gives 100 or 10 attack speed. So Monkey King Bar significantly changed, or kind of somewhat reverted back to what it used to be. And now the procs do 100 magical damage instead of pure damage when you get the passive Pierce, which is how it used to be as well, right? It used to be magic damage, I believe. Okay, that's weird. So they're just kind of reverting their changes. They realize that, oh wait, there's a serious lack of damage items come the late game, to the point where I forgot who it was. It was a Chinese team, but in an interview he said that there's lack of damage items, so it's actually viable to go for a rapier because otherwise you just don't have damage. It was on Gyrocopter, I believe. I forgot what team it was. It was maybe Newbie, I believe. But yeah, we're back to having damage items here with Monkey King Bar now giving 52 damage, Skull Basher, as well as Abyssal Blade giving 25 damage. I like those changes overall. I think this makes Monkey King Bar less viable on heroes like Enchantress that really love the item, and even Slark. But of course, if you need to Pierce Evasion, it's still the go-to item to pick up. Anyway, moving onward, looks like we do have decent amount of item changes actually. Now Maelstrom now uses Javelin instead of gloves and recipe, so it's just Mithril Hammer Javelin for Maelstrom. It no longer gives the attack speed because of this, but it does more damage for each chain lightning, which could be really good. It's only 50 more damage, but like that's a significant increase, considering like how often you're proccing. If you have high attack speed, well, it doesn't give you attack speed anymore, but and the procs can no longer be evaded because of the javelin as well. So if you proc, it gives you piercing. And what's the percentage for proccing? 25%, which is not bad. This could be really good, especially on heroes like Sniper that build the item anyway. I think this is a overall buff. Of course, they're still lacking the attack speed. Now, Mjolnir, of course, the changes just carry on over, including the increase in damage. But they didn't increase the damage further. It's just 170 for Mjolnir and Maelstrom. But you do get most of the attack speed still, even though the attack speed component is removed from Maelstrom. You get 75 instead of 80. I don't know how I feel about this. So it only gives damage now. Maelstrom only gives damage, and it gives a proc chance for the lightning, which does 170, which is actually a lot. So, it's interesting. Because I'm thinking of what heroes actually buy Maelstrom, and there's not many. Unless you're dealing with like illusion heroes, something like that, or like PL, right? Sometimes you'll buy it on a hero to deal with that, but otherwise, not many heroes actually buy Maelstrom anymore. The only hero that comes to mind straight up is Sniper. There's a core on him. But again, this is going with the change of getting rid of attack speed and giving everyone damage. So once again, they got rid of attack speed and gave damage. What is this, the damage patch? Damage, damage, damage. Got rid of attack speed, got rid of attack speed. We'll find out. Now, Battle Fury requires a recipe. That's a big nerf to Battle Fury. It costs an additional 300 gold, and it's a recipe that you have to buy from base. Because the one upside of Battle Fury that you could actually just straight up buy it from the secret shop. But now you have to definitely just fly out this recipe. So it's just a straight 300 gold increase, and it's in the form of a recipe, which is that extra work that I have to put in to get that extra gold, as well as fly out that recipe. I'm not sure why they would do this. This is strange, I gotta say. I don't consider Battle Fury an OP item. I consider Quelling Blade really good, but Battle Fury getting nerfed? Yes, it was one of the popular items, right? We would build it on most Agi heroes that needed to farm, like PAs and Monkey Kings specifically, like heroes that needed to farm off map and couldn't farm waves very safely. I'm gonna say they can't farm waves, but they can't farm it safely, right? They're easily susceptible to ganks with by Battle Fury. It's the Troll Warlord, is in that case. Juggernaut's a little bit of a different story because he can farm waves safely, but he still goes for Battle Fury. It's overall a highly picked up item with these melee Agi carries. Anti-Mage is not really in the meta, so we won't count him, but really though? Okay. We'll see how that actually turns out. It's just strange. The changes don't really make sense, and keep in mind Techies is in captain mode. Which means that if teams pick Techies, it's going to draw things in the late game, and if you see Techies in pubs, it's going to draw things in the late game. So these late game items might actually, make a big impact in the game here, these changes. We'll see. Now, cooldown of Blink Dagger has been increased by 1. Small nerf to Blink Dagger. It's been progressively getting nerfed slightly every 2 patches or so. Okay, but not that big a deal. It's 1 extra second. I mean, it might mean the difference between if you have Blink off to initiate an important fight or not. So it does matter, right? But it won't matter. It won't be noticeable. But over a lot of games, you'll definitely run into scenarios where this actually can screw you. Now, Boots of Travel, the building prioritization range has been increased from 700 to 900, which means that it's going to prefer buildings over creeps, so you don't actually TP to a creep instead of a structure, and then you actually get your boots cancelled, and then you just lost the fight because you weren't able to be there. So this is just pretty nice. Not really a buff or anything like that, but it's just kind of quality of life change, makes it easier to use. Now, Dagon has been nerfed. Nerf? Is that it? Well, they basically made it so mana cost now scales as you level it up, starting at a lower mana cost, going up to 200, which is going to be 20 mana more. But if you have Dagon 5, 20 mana isn't really that big of a deal. For the most part, a lot of Interos have 20 mana regen per second at this point. That I have a Dagon 5 anyway, so makes it a little bit less mana intensive. Excuse me, as you first pick up that Dagon 1. So I would say it's overall small buff to Dagon. I'm not sure why they're making these micro changes to these items that don't really need changes. It's whatever. Small buff to Dagon there. Okay, Force Staff. This item, I'm expecting it to get nerfed. It's a pretty broken item, and it's also been progressively getting micro nerfed, similar to Blink Dagger every other patch or so. Now, Force Staff now requires Ring of Regeneration again, back to the old Force Staff instead of Ring of Health. Now, the mana cost is 100. This is actually a big deal. And the health regen has been reduced because Ring of Health is actually a really good item. Total price is still the same, which means they increased the price of the recipe. So it's just back to old Force Staff recipe. It gives you less HP regen, because that was a big buff to it. That was when Force Staff actually got buffed, when it got changed where it required the Ring of Health instead of the Ring of Regen, because you got a lot more HP regen out of it. 5 HP regen is a lot, but now it goes back to only 2 HP regen. The mana mana cost has been increased significantly, and into Hurricane Pike, the changes also follow up. Now, Hurricane Pike only gives 2 HP regen as well. Mana cost is 100 as well on Hurricane Pike. Let's say this is actually a pretty significant nerf to Force Staff. For the main reason being that the mana cost. Like 25 mana was nothing, but 100 mana, sometimes you're not going to have that 100 mana. As a support hero, sometimes you're using your whole mana pool in a fight, and this is a significant mana increase. And when you're considering a support hero that has like no items, right? When you're expending your whole mana pool, like you're not going to have like these bonus items to increase your int. For example, like you might literally have brown boots and a Force Staff, and if you have mana intensive spells as well, you might not have that mana to cast a Force Staff, which could be the difference between either surviving a fight or dying, or maybe even the difference between like saving one of your carries, more importantly. So it's actually a really big deal there. That's like if they added mana cost back to Blink Dagger. Remember when Blink does have mana cost. So, yeah, this item that's a save item, you always want to be able to have it up. But the fact that it costs 100 mana, because you always have 25. Like, 25, it's rare that you'll go below 25 mana, right? But you can easily go below 100. So, that's actually a big, big, big nerf there. I'm expecting a nerf on Helm of the Dom as well. Let's see what it did here. So, Helm health regen has been decreased from 8 to 7, and it no longer grants plus 5 attack speed to the item holder, which isn't really the biggest deal. This isn't why people bought the item, but they also increased the bounty for the Helm of the Dom creep, which I really like this, because most people, they're able to just throw their Helm of the Dom creep away. I mean, it's a lot of gold, but now it gives way more gold there. 200 gold for that creep. I mean, it's not way more, but it's a lot. 200 gold. Almost as much as a Lone Druid Bear for feeding your Helm of the Dom creep. And I noticed most people don't even aim for the creep. When I see the creep, I'm like, give me that 125 gold. Please. But now it's 200. You're going to get that creep focused for sure. Which might actually be a good or bad thing. I've been going to Helm of the Dom build on IO, and if they're focusing my creep because they want 200 gold instead of focusing me, I'm fine with that. But it actually isn't that significant of a nerf to it. So it's still a viable item for sure. It's got to be a little bit more careful with your creep. This change is pretty much irrelevant. This change, one less HP regen doesn't hurt too much. So overall, it's okay. All right, not too big of a deal there. Now, going on to Lincoln Sphere. The nerf to Lincoln Sphere. All stats for Lincolns has been reduced from 15 to 13. Again, I don't know why that's warranted, but very small micro nerf there to Lincoln Sphere. I mean, it's one of the most popular late game items, because it'll prevent things like the nullifiers and like the nullifier, as well as Bloodthorn combo. You have to use something else to break it. It pretty much gives you an extra layer of protection, and you can even use it on like another target or another hero to give them an extra layer of protection if they have their own Lincolns, right? It definitely makes it easier for you to siege high ground and things like that. So it's okay. It was a powerful item, or I won't say powerful item, but it was like a must-buy item. So they're just going to make it slightly worse, so you might rethink, okay, maybe if I don't really need a Lincoln's, I might go for something else. I don't know. Okay, Magic Wand, moving on, now requires a recipe instead of a mango. And it now also provides plus 3 all stats instead of plus 2 all stats, and 1.5 HP regen. And the max charges goes to 20 now. Okay. So it costs 50 more gold, and you can no longer buy it with your random mango, right? Because that was like the thing, right? People would get a random mango, and then you can just build a magic wand really easily. Now that's no longer possible. We actually have to buy the recipe, but it overall got buffed. So, I mean, unless you're a randomer, I would say this is overall buff to magic wand. I would take the extra stats, because it's literally, that's an extra iron branch that you're spending on this recipe, and you get the +1 stats from it, right? And then you also get the HP regen as well. More HP regen, right? How much did it used to give? I think it used to give 1. Now it's 1.5, which is a decent amount. I wish I could tell. What the heck? Oh, whatever. But you also get more charges. That's 3 more charges, which is a big burst heal. So, I like that change to Magic Wand, actually. Oh, now Mango has... What does it say? On sale. On sale now. Enchanted Mango. Limited time offer. On sale now for 70 gold instead of 100. 30% off. I don't know what... Someone was having fun there. Health regen has been decreased. Yeah, it used to give 1. For sure. Now, consumed Mango now restores 125 mana. And the bonus hero now gives 2 mangoes? Get double The funny thing is, I just ate some mangoes before recording this video. On sale now. So, maybe mangoes were on sale, because my parents bought like a huge carton of mangoes. But now it's translating into Dota 2 apparently. On sale now. Reduce the cost, nerf everything about it. It's 30% less HP regen, 30% less cost. Is that 30% less mana restore as well? Let's figure out the math here. Yeah, about 30%, not exactly, but about 30% less mana restore. But now you get 2 of them when you random, or when you pick a bonus hero, so you get buffed actually. Well, you can't buy Magic Wand anymore, but you technically get buffed if you random or pick the bonus hero. It's strange. I mean, this is just odd. I mean, it's incentivizing buying more than 1 mango, right? They're even giving you multiple mangoes if you random or pick the bonus hero, whichever one. So, can you hear that? My phone's ringing. I'm just gonna ignore it. Anyway, going onward, Necronomicon duration increased from 50 to 60 seconds. I like that, and this is gonna apply to all Necros, of course, right? So, overall buff to Necros, and then as an extension, heroes like Lycan and Beastmaster, I guess, which are the only 2 heroes that really buy Necro. I mean, 10 extra seconds is actually significant. It's like sometimes that's like the difference between, like, you can take a full Rax or not. Like, you'll take a Necro book fight, or you summon them for a fight, right? And then they'll expire. But now they last for 10 extra seconds, which is plenty of time for you to finish off that Rax if you're a Beastmaster or a Lycan. Just that much faster, right? Same thing with like a Roshan or like a Shrine. So it's actually pretty good buff there. Now phase boots is gonna get changed here. During phase, your base turn rate is improved to 1. The highest value can still be lowered by other effects. Okay, so it gives you perfect turning, but it doesn't guarantee it, right? It can still get lowered by like sticky napalm and things like that. And it now is active for 3 seconds instead of 2.5. And this is, of course, only when you're phased. But again, remember, it can get lowered. I don't know how that would work. So I guess it brings it to 1 and then the lower... Like, it brings it to 1 and then it would lower it by, like, whatever, right? And 1 is what Io has, I believe. So it's literally perfect turning. No turn rate. League of Legends, pretty much. Phase Boots now makes your hero a League character for 3 seconds when you activate it. But they will decrease the active speed. So now it's 20% for melee heroes, 16% for ranged heroes, which is actually a decent amount less, but it's an interesting change here. Buy phase boots. Huh. I'm trying to figure, like, when would this, like, really be applicable, right? When you really would need to turn fast and just get the heck out of there. I guess for heroes that just have really bad turn rates. So heroes with, like, rough turn rates, like, I guess, like, I think Wraith King, first thing that comes to mind, like Wraith King, right? You buy phase boots, and it will help you out. Like, you buy phase boots, you can instantly face the direction you want to go, whether you're trying to go in or run away. Actually increases the speed of your escape relatively. And of course, the active speed has been reduced, but you get it for slightly longer. So it's interesting. It's a little bit complicated and unnecessary, but we have a way to manipulate turn rate now. We'll see in the future. Maybe there's an item that just straight up gives you 1 turn rate. You've upgraded phase boots. We'll see. We'll see. Observer Ward. Gold and experience bounty rescaled from a constant 100 gold and 100 experience to growing over time. It starts at 100 and increases by 2 every minute. Gold, and it starts at 50 experience and increases by 4 every minute. I like this because level 1 dewarding is broken. You could actually straight up lose a lane because your ward got dewarded. Because then their support will like get half the level pretty much, and then they'll hit level 2 before you, and depending on like what the lane matchup is, that literally can be game losing. Not even just lane losing, game losing because you got dewarded. So I like this change. Now you only get 50, which is only a quarter of a level, and if it gets shared, that's like nothing. The gold is still 100, but like having 100 gold isn't as important as 100 experience in the early game. Alright. So I really like this change, and now it scales. So, I mean, later on in the game, if you deward, you'll get more value out of it. But, you know, as later on the game gets, it's kind of like a nice bonus rather than like something that's just going to straight up win you the game or the lane. So I like this change on Observer Rewards a lot, actually. It's going to suck. Sometimes it's gonna suck when you get the deward, but it makes it so that you don't have to be that afraid of getting dewarded, which is what would happen. So someone's calling again. I'm gonna close my door so you don't hear that. And I just realized I could just be live streaming this instead of recording it and then uploading it, but I'm stupid. Anyway, going onward, we have Sanj, who will get nerfed in the cost slightly, but Yasha is also increased cost as well. So the recipe is going to cost 200 more, which overall increases the cost of the item by 200, but now it gives greater maim. What is greater maim? Doesn't even explain it. It still says lesser maim there. Hello? Well, okay, it gives you better maim, I'm assuming. I don't know what the numbers are, but it gives you better maim. Same thing applies to Heaven's Halberd. Yasha is just straight up nerfed. And Manta Style, however, is going to get its recipe cost lowered to account for Yasha being a higher cost. Isn't this back to where they used to be? I remember Sanj costing about 2,100 something. So they just increased the cost to where they used to be. Okay. I didn't really change Manta Style too much. The cost differential, this is increased by 200, this is lowered by 400. So actually Mantis style costs a little bit less. So I don't know what the heck grade or MAME is, but that's it for the items. Overall, nothing too big here, in my opinion. Like, I was expecting Helm to get nerfed. They didn't even touch Quelling Blade or anything. Like, they nerfed Battle. The fact that they didn't nerf Quelling Blade and they nerf Battle Fury really makes no sense to me, because Quelling Blade is really good. Like, if you think Quelling Blade's like a good carry item, if you're an offlaner, you're not buying Quelling Blade and you're a melee hero, like, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, if you look at this item, all right, okay, where is it? Look at this item. It gives you 24 damage for on creeps for 200 gold. 24 damage on creeps for 200 gold. And you could buy it from the side shop. You want 24 damage? Mithril Hammer. I mean, of course, it's only on creeps, but like in the early game, like that's all you're gonna need. To hit creeps, you're farming for the most part, right? Anyway, I guess that's it for the items. Let's go on to the heroes. We have a long patch, so I don't want this video to last forever. I can guarantee you it's still shorter than Purge. Oh, I saw Io there. What did they do to him? Please don't nerf Io again. Please. Alright. Alchemist. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bounty ruined. Bonus gold increased from 2.5 to 3 times 300 gold. Or not. Okay, I'm wrong here. This is the math here. 120 gold per bounty. That's 240 for 2 bounty runes. I was still thinking they cost 100 for some reason, but well, he was already getting a ridiculous amount. They buffed it even more. Like 15 minutes in, you're getting like 400, even more than that, gold from picking up the bounty rune, I believe. I don't remember the exact numbers. I haven't played them in a while, but what? And they also buffed chemical regen here. So just overall buffs Alchemist. Like, I actually think Alchemist support is viable now. Like, call me crazy, but I like, it's not bad. His stun is broken, first of all. Like, if you can get him to like a high level, he stuns everyone in a fight. Like, you literally can just spam it. You can toss 10 million stun per fight, and you're super tanky, right? Like, so you can easily frontline tank and just stun 10 million heroes. As long as you have vision, you get a lot of gold. Like, Alchemist can farm a blink. Like, he can be a support, and he can farm a blink just off of having map control of 2 bounty runes. Because you give him like 5 minutes or 6 minutes of picking up bounty runes. That's a blink dagger. Like, come like 15 minutes, right? So from like 10 to 15 minutes, he can be just picking up bounty runes, getting a couple of creep kills here and there, and that's a blink dagger. Straight blink dagger, without having to farm lane at all. So that lane farm can go to your core or whatever, right? It's like, for example, a regular hero that would need to farm blink would need to be given a lane, like a Sand King or a Slaughdar. But Alchemist can get a blink dagger while being off map, which is such a big deal, because at that time you can still be exerting pressure. Like, for heroes like Sand King and Slaughdar, they have to go off map or on map to farm it efficiently. Sure, they can jungle, but it's just slow. And that time, like, the enemy knows that they don't have to be worried. But Alchemist, like, he could be off map, he can be ganking, and then as long as the bounty runes are available to him, like his team doesn't steal them, he gets the bounty rune, gets a super fast blink dagger. It's going to be even faster because of this buff here. I actually think Alchemist support is viable. I'll be playing him maybe on my main, maybe on my Smurf. Probably not on my main. I don't want to get reported, but on my smartphone, I don't really care. But it's good, but you'll get reported because you get the same thing with techies, right? You do something weird, you get reported. Especially if you lose. If you win, probably not. Ancient Apparition, Chilling Touch, damage rescaled. It's going to get lowered at the early levels, just slightly. And just ever so slightly increased later on. That's barely noticeable. Like at level 1, this would be the biggest difference, because that's 10 damage decrease, and that's not just 10, right? It's for every hit, and you get 3. So technically a 30 damage decrease, which is a lot at level 1, and it no longer pierces spell immunity, which I don't know why it would before, but alright, you got rid of that. Arc Warden, a garbage hero. It's not a very good hero. Magnetic field cooldown has been reduced, and they just buffed magnetic field in the last patch as well. They're just slowly buffing him in like his most irrelevant spell. Like this is his worst spell, right? Magnetic field's his worst spell right now, because it's really not, doesn't do anything until like later, and they're just buffing it. Just buffing it. The level 15 talent has also been changed from flux duration to flux cast range, which actually is pretty nice. It's over health, so I'm still not sure if you go for it, but 400 range is a lot, and I mean this spell is not bad. It's one of his better spells. The problem is, like, by the time you get level 15, I guess not. Like, by the time you get level 15, like, enemy heroes might not necessarily have a BKB, so this could be good, because this just guarantee your safety in a fight. You can fight from even further away. Because the thing is, like, the 300 health is nice, but, like, unless you're planning on tanking, which you're not, right? So this is mainly applying to your illusion, or whatever it's, your replicant, mirror image, what is it called? Tempest double. Really doesn't mean much. I'm not an Arc Warren player, so can't comment too much on that, but it seems like it's nice. You have to contact the Arc Warden player to see, because there's not many of them right now. It's just not very good. Anyway, going onward to Axe, his base movement speed has been increased by 5. It's not bad, pretty nice. Again, Axe is a hero that doesn't feel too strong right now. His battle hunger mana cost has been rescaled. So I'm thinking, like, since the creep doesn't aggro, like, there's no way to creep cut. So, like, for example, like, if you want to creep cut, like, not, like, de-aggro, like, aggro the creeps away, just, like, creep cut, right? Like, stand there and, like, kill the creeps. You can't even do that either. So I'm thinking, like, heroes like Axe and Darkseer can't do that. So that was also another thing that Darkseers would do. Like, instead of cutting the creeps, they would still cut the creeps, but instead of, like, pulling them away, they would just cut them and farm them with, like, another hero. But you can't do that yet, anymore either. So just think about that. His battle hunger has also been rescaled with its mana costs, actually scaling instead of being a flat 75, which will help him out since he doesn't have the biggest mana pool in the world, being a strength hero. Just small buffs there to Axe. Won't make too much of a difference. Now, Bat Rider's base strength going to be increased by 3. An actual buff to Bat Rider. We won't see that too often. The thing is, Bat Rider isn't picked too much anymore, as he's too easily zoned, but the strength is going to help there. Now, of course, he can no longer creep cut, so I'm expecting a lot of buffs to offlaners, because they're, in general, just going to get nerfed because of that change. Like, just every offlaner has been nerfed, pretty much. So Bloodseeker is going to get changed here, with the ground vision of Bloodright now being increased to match the AoE of the spell, which makes sense. That's it. And Blood Rage cooldown has also been reduced at the earlier levels, which don't really make that much of a difference. It just makes it the same now. So the cooldown is the same as the duration early on, or just at level 1, I mean, and then the duration will be longer after that. It just isn't the biggest deal. Maybe it'll like increase his jungle speed a little bit more or something like that, but it doesn't really matter too much what the heck they do to Broodmother. Alright, Primal Split. Fire permanent immolation damage has been increased. Yeah, it felt really underwhelming, especially at the lower levels, but they're going to increase it from 15 to 20, which isn't that big of a deal, but from 30 to 40, that's a decent amount of damage. And then at level 3, it's pretty much a Radiance. So it is a Radiance. So that's pretty nice for Brewmaster there. Again, he is kind of like the underpicked offlaners out of all the ones right now. There's only a few offlaners that are even being picked, including like Underlord, Tide, Abaddon, things like that. Tiny. Like to see more Brew, especially from S4 Brew. Come on, but that isn't the biggest deal there. So just made his ultimate slightly better, very slightly. It is a lot better actually at level 3, getting that Radiance. But anyway, going onward to Broodmother, her spawn Spiralings has just been overall reworked, but it looks like it's just with like the stats and the gold. So first off, the bounty rune, or the bounty, has been reduced to 3. Only 3. 3 gold and 3 experience only for the spider, right? And that's the spider that spawns from a spiderling. And spiderling, or that's... Wait, I'm confused. I'm right about that, right? Why did they used to give more gold? That makes no sense. Because I looked at it, and in my head I'm like, Spiderette's the small one. It's the ones that are the weak ones, right? Because if you don't know, if you're not a Broodmother player, you don't know too much about Broodmother. Like there's the difference between a Spiderette and a Spiderling. The Spiderling is the thing that actually comes out when she shoots her nuke, right? And it spawns Spiderlings. That's what the name of the spell is. The Spiderettes are the ones that spawn when the Spiderlings infect the creep or a hero with like venom, and then the creep dies, and then one Spiderette will spawn. But for some reason, they actually used to give more gold than a Spiderling. What? Okay, but now they only give 3, which makes sense. Because that was the problem with Broodmother. If you fed her spiders, she actually just gave so much away. And you can see top players like Matumba Man, even like Ramses, they'll feed their spiders because sometimes it's unavoidable. Like you want to like kill someone, right? And then your spiders will just happen to die. And it gives so much away if you feed them like 3 or 4 times. Like you're giving them like crap ton of levels. Because it was 31 experience per spiderling. And 20 per spiderite. Now it's 3 gold, 3 experience for spiderites, 9 gold, 9 experience for spiderlings. However, the armor has been nerfed to 0. So now both have 0 armor. They're very squishy now, especially the physical. Like Dazzle Heal Bomb or something like that, and they're all dead, instant dead, even if it's a low level Dazzle. Spiderling damage has also been reduced. Spiderling mana cost has been reduced though for spawn spiderlings, and the cooldown is also reduced. So it seems like you're just able to spawn more. You're able to spawn more, but they're slightly weaker in terms of like both their defensive capabilities and their offense. But you don't have to worry too much anymore about feeding them. They barely give anything away, even if it's like a huge army. I mean, if it's super massive, then of course they're still going to get a decent amount of gold from it, but it's significantly less. Compare 20 to 3, 16 to 20 gold to 3. So it's a lot less. Okay, I actually can dig that change. Because the reason why, like, Broodmother is a boring hero to watch, in my opinion, because, like, it's very interesting when you can see Broodmothers play aggressive and then use all these spiders, and it kind of makes it like you're playing a whole different game almost. But when you're playing against, like, a team that, like, have ways to clear spiders, it just turns to being like a farm fest. The Broodmother doesn't want to, play aggressive. Like, you won't see broods go for, like, orchid builds or what was it, medallion builds as often, because they rather just farm. She can farm so much faster than try to, like, play aggressive. She might just, like, take the tower and then that's it, because, like, she doesn't want to feed her spiders, because when she's playing aggressive she's naturally going to have to feed spiders to get kills. But now potentially will change her playstyle up a little bit. And going on to Chen, looks like Hand of God heal has been buffed again, only at level 2 and level 3. Level 2 it's going to get increased by 25, level 3 by 50. I mean, this spell was kind of just bad, and it's just buffing it every other patch to make it a little bit better. But it's not that big of a deal. Crystal Maiden base armor increased by 1. Poggers. Wow, so tanky now. They nerf Dark Willow, come on. I'm just learning to play her, they freaking nerf her. Freezing Field attack speed slow increased. Even more? It's already pretty ridiculous. 30. I mean, 30 doesn't seem like much, right? But, like, it's starting this huge ass, like, AoE. Like, now it's 60. That's a lot. Honestly, that's a lot. Crystal Maiden. I'm gonna play Crystal Maiden again. We'll see. These changes look like nothing, but I don't think she's bad. As a support, she does a lot. It's just that she can't trade. She makes a lane relatively weak, but, like, you give her a lot of levels, or her game goes well, she just wrecks. She destroys. Like, you do not want to play against a Crystal Maiden who's having a good game with her team, because she makes it, like, impossible for you to fight. Impossible. She gets a lot of levels up. She starts, like, out leveling some of your, like, core heroes. Well, that's if you're really far behind, but, like, I wouldn't say not out leveling them, but, like, keeping at, like, almost the same level, right? Like, getting a lot of levels, like maxing out her spells early on, and, like, it's so hard to fight into her, especially the ultimate, which was already really strong. Now it's getting even buffed more. I like that. Darkseer, who recently received some changes to his stuff, mostly vacuum, is gonna get changed here again. So Wall Replica Illusions gonna get the damage, incoming damage reduced from that's worded weird, but they take less damage now. The illusions take less damage. The illusions also do more damage. 100% damage at level 3, 70. So overall, just straight up buff the damage of the replica illusions, and now auto attack the hero it made the illusion of. So before, I'm assuming it just auto attack anything, but now it will actually focus the hero that summoned it or spawned it until you tell it otherwise. Similar to, like, Terrorblade Reflection, but, like, of course these illusions are actual illusions. It's okay. Just a small buff there to a Wall of Replica. I mean, this will be a big deal when you're playing against, like, heroes like, heavy agi carries like Luna or Terrorblade. But otherwise, I mean, it's whatever. Okay, Dark Willow. She's gonna get nerfed here in the Bedlam. This is annoying, actually. Why would they get rid of that? Well, talking about the Bedlam first. So they're keeping it the same level 1. They feel like that's okay, because level 1 Bedlam is actually relatively weak. Level 2, they're gonna nerf it by 20 damage. Keep in mind this is damage per attack, right? So it adds, like, this is just by decreasing it by 20. It's a lot, and then decrease it by 40 at level level 3. I'm gonna hop in real quick to see how much damage it does. I'm not gonna do this for every hero, but I just want to see, because I've been playing the hero and I actually know how much damage level 3 should do. So let's see how much actually they decreased it. So before, when you do this full combo, it should do about 3,000 damage. Yeah, it decreased it by 500. Before it did 3,200 or something like that. Yeah, that's a lot less. Hold on, I didn't include the brambles as well. So I did it with the full combo. Yeah, it's a lot less. Holy crap. And I wasn't right on top of it. So let's do it one more time. I won't auto attack. Yeah. About 500 damage. They lowered it by like about 500 damage, which really doesn't matter too much at the end of the day, because 3,000, almost 3,000 damage is still a lot, and you gotta keep in mind you can still amp it with things like Veil and Kaya. But it's just to make her damage a little less ridiculous and less bursty. Because, like, if you just stand there for the full duration, it's still gonna do a shit ton of damage. It's still gonna kill, like, pretty much anything. But you can't do it as fast. Because before, like, you can see Dark Willow solo kill 6 slotted carries with their BKBs on cooldown. Like, within a matter of, like, 2 seconds. Something ridiculous like that. But... oh, so they did increase the rotation duration. So, yeah, I was wondering, like, it should have been a lot less, but it lasted longer, that's why. So it lasts longer now, it just does less damage. So again, back to what I was saying. So it doesn't do insane amount of damage rather than a huge burst, right? It will still do a lot of damage over time. And that was still like 2,000 damage to that full combo. But it will be a little bit less ridiculous there. Now, Curse Crown no longer giving vision, so if you guys didn't know, so when you cast Curse Crown into something, it doesn't give vision, but it'll give you vision as it explodes, as it stuns. But now they just got rid of that. But which the reason why that would be helpful is because, let's say a hero like jukes into the trees, and you still have that Curse Crown on them, and they got away like with like relatively low HP, you can follow up after you see them stun, like with, you know, one of your own heroes, or just with your Shadow Realm. So if you have the Shadow Realm attack, like, you can just shoot the attack, and then you can finish them off as the Curse Crown procs. But now if they get away, they're away. Like, they're gone. You can't track them anymore. Which actually is, I would say a big nerf, but definitely makes it harder, a little bit harder to play. You can't track down targets. Like, you actually have to go in, and she's not a hero that wants to go in. The only time she wants to go in is for Bedlam. Otherwise, she wants to play at the side. So, pretty big nerfs here to Dark Willow. It's still a strong hero, but and they're gonna buff her level 25 talent to make up for this, making it plus 1.5 second terrorize duration instead of just plus 1. It's pretty good. It makes it last for how long? 5.5 seconds. It's pretty good. I mean, terrorize is still... I'm surprised I didn't touch terrorize of all abilities. They already nerfed it, I guess, in the previous patch, but it's still really good. But I do like how they touched Bedlam a little bit, and this Curse Crown change is actually... I would say it's bigger than the Bedlam nerf. Because this is how you're going to take the mid-game fights. Like, this vision actually is so good, because the heroes that are trying to juke away, they're trying to hide, like, it allows your team to semi-track them, right? But now you can't see them anymore. Like, they get away, they're away, even if they're stunned. Like, they're stuck in the tree line, you can't follow up with any spells, you can't do anything. Of course, like, you can still use the Bramble Maze, and if it catches them, you'll catch vision of them. Wait, I don't think Bramble Maze gives vision either. It only gives you vision of invis. So yeah, she does. You can't see them anymore at all, at all. Yeah. I'm still gonna play her, but it kind of sucks. Anyway, moving on. Dazzle, poison, touch, effective area covered, not scaling properly with cast range bonuses. It's just a fix, I guess. What does he have, like a talent or something with cast range? Yeah. And he has, of course, he can buy Aether Lens too, which is pretty good on Dazzle. Increases your mana pool by a lot, and your whole point is to save people, and you want to be really far back. Okay. But with Poison Touch, it doesn't really make that big a difference. So I guess it's going to cover a more effective area now, because apparently it was like bugged or something. Now, Death Prophet going to get her base HP regen nerfed. Which will hurt her in lane. Oh, look, she's in the back here. You guys see her? Hey, Death Prophet. There's a little bird here as well. Got some centaurs and a ward. But not that big of a deal. So we'll nerf her laning just slightly. Earthshaker base damage increased by 3. Maybe he's a viable offlaner. Because remember, I talked you can't creep pull anymore, so you might pick Earthshaker as an offlaner, so you can fissure block. And he's one of the offlaners and guarantee you can have a somewhat good lane. Now, speaking of that, there's also Enigma, who can still eat the range creep. But got a base damage increase. Quelling Blade's not nerfed. What the fuck? Maybe Earthshaker. It's offlaner. 7.14. Ember Spirit is gonna get, let's see what it did here. Slight buff to him overall at level 1. His Flame Guard isn't as useless level 1. Now it blocks 80 damage. It's still gonna get removed by most spells. But now 220 at level 2, 360, and then same 500. So Flame Guard gonna get a slight buff for the earlier levels. Searing Chains gonna get also buffed in the early levels, especially level 1, about 1.5 seconds, and it now does damage in half-second intervals. What did it used to do? I don't know. And the total damage has been rescaled, so it does slightly more damage. Just overall, his early game has just been buffed a little bit, which is what they did a lot, if you guys remember, in the 2 patches ago, 7.12, which is a kind of buffed some of the heroes' early game spells and then leaving them, or nerfed some heroes' early game spells and left their overall strength the same once they maxed out. Enigma gonna get his Malefice stun rescaled, getting it once again buffed in the early game for the first 3 levels, but leaving the same at level 4. The Malefice cooldown has been now reduced to 15 at all levels instead of scaling downwards. And Malefice mana cost has also been reduced at the early field levels. And again, I do think Enigma Earthshaker, potentially the new offlaners here. Especially if they got some slight buffs and the offlane pull change. Mattering a lot for these heroes that actually have a way to manipulate the creep wave without having to pull. Chronosphere cooldown now increased. Oh, come on. I'm going to get increased. Same at level 1, but level. I just read IO real quick there, and this is what I wanted for 10 million years. Sorry for the orgasm. But hold on, I'll just not look at that for a second here. Chronosphere cooldown increased. I mean, it doesn't matter too much. But 10 seconds could matter at level 3. And of course, you can still get Ags. Now, Alchemist support can solve all your problems by giving you an Ags. I just played Alchemist, or with an Alchemist support. The guy was like really bad. But he bought an Axe for my Jug. Actually, I can't say that. My Alchemist was okay. My Jug was pretty bad. Because he had one job. He had one job, and that was to use Omni Slash. And he failed to do so, and we lost. But anyway, what I was trying to say was the alchemist gave my jug an axe, and it was actually pretty broken. And the fact that you can have your 4 position do that, and just permanently give someone an axe, especially like a hero like Jug that never wants to buy ags, but he would appreciate if someone gave him an ags and he doesn't have to carry it in one of his item slots. I don't know. Same thing with Faces Void. And we have techies in the game. Oh my god, just imagine a world where the meta becomes techies alk. Techies alk, and you just stall the game, you buy everyone an ags. Everyone has an ags. Everyone has a moon shard. The game lasts for 70 minutes. What have you done, Ice Frog? Speaking of giving everyone an ags, Invoker is also a perfect target. He can, like Invoker, he can get rid of his ags for another item, maybe for Mjolnir or some like lane pushing. I don't know, whatever wants to buy. Aeon disc, anything. That slot's free. Alchemist gave him an ags. Now, speaking of heroes that also can give ags, we got Io. But they actually changed him a lot. What the fuck did they do? Right, Invoker first. I'm trying to look. Invoke mana cost reduced by 20 mana. Whoop-de-doo. Anyway, what did they do to my hero here? If you guys are just watching this video, you know, I'm an IO player here, so I can give you real insight into this one here. What the fuck? Okay, first thing, what caused me to Craigasm was Tether can now target spell immune allies, which is actually huge, big. If you don't know how big that is, you never played IO, because this was a major problem with the hero. Because, for example, I lost the game because of this. I literally lost the game because of this interaction. Because my Lifestealer got Chronosphered and I could not relocate him out. I channeled the relocate. I was gonna save him. But because he raged before getting chronoed, there was nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. He died and we lost the game. But now, he would have lived and we probably would have won. Tether cast point changed. It used to have a cast point? What the fuck? Well, I didn't even know that. I thought it was 0, but apparently it was 0.001. Now it's actually 0, which... Can anything actually be 0? Tether no longer applies slow on impact? Wait. Oh, so there's no tether slow at all? No tether slow at all. I mean, it was pretty much useless. The tether slow was useless, honestly. Because like back when it was tether stun, that was when it was broken. Tether slow, you don't notice it. Sometimes it'll make the difference between, you know, maybe like the enemy getting one extra auto attack off that could mean like your death or something like that in the early game. But other than that, like, you're never going to tether to slow someone come in the mid game. Like, you're not going to even position yourself to try to tether, stun, or slow someone in the mid game, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, if you're in that position, you're putting yourself at risk of dying or something. I mean, it did save me in a recent game where I went home to Dom with tether slow, and this PA couldn't attack to finish me off, and then I just ran into the trees with my 450 move speed or something like that. But I gladly trade the stupid slow for being able to tether smell immune allies. I would gladly trade that. Like, if you're not an idle player, you're gonna understand how big that is. That's what I've been asking for years, literally years. So I'm happy with that change, even though they got rid of the tether slow. Okay, now spirits also apply a 20, 40, 60, 80% move speed slow on impact for 0.3 seconds. They already slowed. The fuck? Why didn't they say what did they used to be at? It already slowed. I don't know for how much, but they already slowed. I gotta look it up on the wiki here. Wait, did they get rid of the slow? I didn't realize. Wait, hold on a second here. Am I crazy? Did I live in an alternate universe where I already was playing in this patch? I'm clearly not. Apparently that's the case. I live in an alternate universe where I already thought that spirits slowed, and apparently they didn't. Now they do. What the? Because nowhere on the wiki, even in the old changelogs. They didn't get rid of it at any point either. I mean, they used to give vision. I know that for sure. An alternate universe, but 80% slows a lot, and it's only for 0.3 seconds. But that's gonna guarantee you get the next hit, and the next hit, and the next hit, and the next hit. It's actually insane. I thought they actually slowed. What the fuck? Or I'm actually crazy. Crazy, by the way. Okay, but now they have two... What? The fuck? What do they do? Spirits now give a slow, and now they only have two fixed positions. One at 700 and one at 100. No longer granular with toggles, but just a single press action. You hit it once, they go out all the way. You hit it once again, and they go in, all the way. And Spirits in and out is just one ability now, and it alternates the direction. And it has a 1.5 second cooldown, so you can't you can't adjust, pretty much. Like, you can't spam it to, like, keep it at, like, a certain radius. I mean, this makes it easier to use, but it's gonna be so freaking weird if you're an IO player. I mean, honestly, since they nerfed the radius of these spirits, I've been getting less value out of them because they just seem bad. Not because, like, it's a bad ability. It's still, like, the ability that you're going to max out. But because the way I want to play, you want to be not that close to the fight. And the fact that 700, you have to be a little bit too close for your comfort. The Helm Dom thing changed it because it allowed you to just have insane move speed. But then, of course, you go for Helm Dom, you tether the Helm Dom creep, you're going to be sacrificing healing to be able to actually dish out your damage and not die. But now that they did all of this, I wonder how that's going to affect things. Because keep in mind, the Spirits range used to be at like almost 900, which is a lot more. And you also have a talent to increase your Spirit max range, but it looks like they got rid of that for experience gain. And it's experience gain or damage, by the way. So you definitely go for the experience gain, because getting these late game talents on IO are pretty broken. Level 15, I think both the talents are really good, extremely good, actually. The Spirits range thing was actually insane because it allowed you to just defend high ground, like, ridiculous. Like, you can just, like, it was, like, hard to use, but, like, if you understand, like, what you're doing, you can just literally sit there and just spam your Spirits, especially once you have level 15. If you want for the 90 Spirits damage, you literally just spam your Spirits, and it did like shit ton of damage to the heroes trying to push, and you were so far away, there was no way they're gonna be able to dive you. So you literally just keep spamming your spears and you just do pow, 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 spears to the face, balls to the face, and they would just take a crap ton of damage. And I've like defended high ground pushes just with my spirits alone, with like me and like one other hero or something like that. Spirits creep damage has been increased. This makes your jungling ability a little bit better, which actually is a big deal. The mana cost has been rescaled, thank God, because it made no sense that it cost 150 mana at level 1, because at some point they nerfed it. This is what it used to be. I forgot what patch it was, but this was a nerf to make it 150 at all levels. So it was like pretty much not worth your mana to use your spirits at level 1 unless you're like really chasing a kill or you needed it. Spirits collision AoE increased. This was annoying. I really like this as well. This is a good quality of life change, because sometimes a hero would seem like they would get hit by a fucking ball and they would just not. Like it seemed like the ball just passed. I've lost kills because of this, and this is definitely going to change that. And now the explosion damage AoE has been increased as well, so that big AoE when they get hit, like the explosion where the damage is dealt, is also increased. So you have a bigger chance of just, when it collides, blowing up a creep wave, for example, if the enemy team is, or the enemy hero is next to a creep, or if the enemy team is close together, it's gonna increase the chances that you'll do more AoE splash. And of course, your level 15 talent, if you do decide to go for the 90 spirits damage, that's going to make a big difference there as well. But of course, you lost the spirit range, but having this 25% experience is actually, I would say, almost better, because you're going to get your level 15 talent faster. You're going to max out your tether faster, which actually is important because they nerfed tether, so you actually want to max it out. Because before you didn't care if it was at level 1, but now you want to max it out to get the maximum HP and mana amp. And overall, like, I feel like after the nerfs in the last patch, these are some appreciated changes. Now the spirits thing, I don't know about that. And overall, it's a buff. Like, this is a buff. Like 80% movement speed slow. It's only for 0.3 seconds. Keep in mind, you have 5 of them. And by slowing someone by 80%, you're increasing your chance of getting your next one and your next one and your next one. So you're pretty much just locking them in place. And you're just getting just blasted by freaking balls to the face. And there's nothing they can do about it. And when you get level 4 spirits, they do a lot of damage. 100 damage per ball. It's 500 magic damage for the total balls. And keep in mind, you can have balls summoned, you can hit all 5, and then you can resummon, hit another 5, and that's 1,000 damage. That's going to kill most heroes. So, yeah. Now, I gotta figure out how to use this shit, but overall, buffed IO actually. Less track. This was too good of an ability, so they're gonna slight nerf. This is my next video, by the way. There's a less track video, but they're gonna nerf Lightning Storm. So if you guys didn't know, everyone was playing Lesh Sport because you can just spam lightning. It was so broken, especially level 1 lightning. Just spam it. You just lightning someone like 4 times and it just chases them around, and you just destroy them. And then you would max lightning first. It was so value because you do so much damage for like how much mana it actually costs, especially if you got multiple targets, and you can push lanes with it really safely as well from relatively long range. The cast point has been buffed and all of that, but they're going to nerf all of that, increasing the mana cost at all levels as it scales, and even just increasing it by 20 at the max level here. Lich is going to get his talent buffed real quick. I don't know about that. I'm not sure if this hero is good or not. He might be, actually. Again, with the offlane change thing, he might be valued just because he's able to win you the offlane, actually. Because I still think winning the offlane is more important than ever. Now you can't creep pull anymore. So people might resort to like these heroes like Lich, even Io, that can help you out, like dual laning the offlane. Chen as well. Chen kind of fell off a little bit. Now he wasn't able to send creeps back anymore, but now he can not send creeps back, but he can just lane with the off laner and gank into the safe lane and prevent you from like zoning. Okay, moving on to Lycan. Summon Wolves' health increased at the earlier levels, making them a little less useless at level 1 and such. The damage has also been increased significantly at the lower levels, and actually makes using wolves to like harass and stuff in lane viable, because they have pretty good basic attack time. They got decent amount more health. I like this change. I don't think Lycan was too weak or anything like that, but definitely his weakness was in the laning stage, and in the laning stage very early on, like the first few levels, and this makes him a little bit stronger in lane. Because now with like decent supports, he actually can threaten a lot of damage with these wolves. Okay, Mirana, her leap speed buff duration is increased from 2 to 2.5. A little bit longer there, and the attack speed has been rescaled to get more attack speed early on, a decent amount more actually at level 1. And her Moonlight Shadow now also grants movement speed bonus while heroes are invisible, so making it a really good ganking ability. Like, it's actually just free smoke, better smoke, better free smoke. Well, not free, it's it's on a cooldown and has mana cost and whatnot, but like, you don't have to spend money on it, and you get infinite uses as long as it's off cooldown. So I think this changed from Ron. I felt like she was a little underutilized. She actually could be like a top hero, honestly. I can see her just straight up coming back in the meta. Like, these changes don't matter too much, but I can actually see her come back in the meta, just because I feel like she wasn't even that bad to begin with. Just people to stop picking her. The meta didn't really cater towards her, but like, we'll see what heroes are popular, because like, she's still like, you'll see her peer into the meta once in a while because she's really good at pushing lanes. She have free smoke. She's hard to kill. Her problem was like, she just falls off really hard. She doesn't do anything come late game. Like, you give her 6 slots and she's just garbage. But like, we'll see how the meta gears towards Mirana. We'll definitely see like teams like Mineski look at her, because like Moon just loves the hero. And they'll combo it with like things like, Naga and stuff like that. For Monkey King, his primal spring mana cost has been reduced to 100 at all levels. Just helping him out a little bit there. Not too big of a deal. No, it does have mana problems. Morphling Adaptive Strike Agility now has a 300 cast range buffer for the secondary targets. What does that mean? They're talking about the multi-shot? It's a talent, right? Yeah. What was it before? I can't even make sense of that. What is it? Alright, level 10 talent. He gets more waveform range, and you also get more adaptive strike multi-shots, which applies with this, whatever this is. So I guess that talent is slightly better. I'm assuming that's what that means. I'm not even going to try to make sense of this. I don't want this video to go forever. If you guys understand this, let me know in the comments below. Anyway, going on to Necrophos. Nerfed out of the patch. Let's see. Will he be back? Doesn't seem like it. Reaper's Scythe respawn timer penalty has been increased, so it's just going to make that better if you actually secure the kill with your Reaper's Scythe to 45 at level 3, 15 only at level 1, and level 2 it's going to be 30. It's okay. He's still really hard countered by, things like Spirit Vessel, stuff like that. But maybe. He's killing a hero for 45 seconds, huh? For additional 45 seconds, I mean. Doesn't seem like much, but even a late game, like if you don't have buyback, it could be GG. I still think Necro is not picked enough especially against like heroes like super tanky heroes. I guess they're not too popular right now, but teams don't really think about them too much because they rather just have a secure hero. Like for example, if you're playing against Timber, you can pick Necro to try to counter him, or you can just pick OD, and your game's more secure. But we'll see. Ogre, who's also kind of fallen out of the meta. Bloodlust now gives you on self gives you 90 attack speed at level 4. 90 at level 4, and it's gonna be the same at level 1. Looks like slightly 10 more at level 2, 20 more at level 3. And this is only attack speed. If it was move speed, it would be something, but like, the heck are you gonna club as a support ogre? Really irrelevant change here, unless you're carry or offlane or some stupid shit like that, but I don't see that. Omni Knight, base armor. You know what? Would you want to be crazy? Ogre IO. Thinking about that for a second. Alright. Maybe. Like he's super fast, right? So like IO is gonna get the speed buff as well, and he only has to ever bloodlust himself because IO will have the increased move speed regardless if he's bloodluster or not. And then you can just do some crazy shit where you get a Agnims for free and you just stun lock people for years. Now that's a meme comp. Anyway, Omni Knight is gonna get nerfed here. This base armor reduced by 1. Keep in mind it's already nerfed because you can't creep pull anymore, which means that if he gets a bad matchup against a hero like Razor, he's just done for. Purification cooldown has also been increased at level 1 to 14 seconds. That's a little harsh there, Ice Frog. That's a little harsh. How many heroes we have left? Decent amount. What the fuck? Alright, let's start to speed this up a little bit here. Outworld Devourer, fix Arcane Orb not using mana if it misses on the target. I actually like that, because that didn't make sense. Like you can literally Arcane Orb, and if you don't actually attack or don't do like you miss, it doesn't cost you anything. Like I think I forgot. Someone made a video showcasing this, but now that's fixed. Arcane Orb mana cost increased as well. Yeah, fuck OD. Actually, that's a lot of increase. Keep in mind, like this does damage based on his mana pool. So the more mana he spends is going to mean that he does less damage if he doesn't proc his passive. So, yeah, there's that. So Rolling Thunder is no longer going to get cancelled when rooted or disabled. It rolls in place instead. I'm not sure if that was a bug or intended, but apparently they're going to get rid of that. So you're no longer going to cancel with Fiend's Grip or a Troll Creep or any stun through BKB. I guess the only one that you could realistically use on him is Roar. Rolling Thunder cooldown has also been increased to 70 at all levels instead of scaling downwards. The Swashbuckle mana cost has been increased just slightly, very slightly. It is a mana dependent hero, but for the most part, most Pangoliers build to account for that with like mana boots or soul ring. Shield Crash cooldown has also been increased, now scaling instead of just being flat 13, starts at 19 seconds. And fix Shield Crash counting spell immune heroes within its damage reduction. So if they don't actually take the damage from it because they're spell immune, you don't get extra resistance. And the level 10 talent has been reduced to mana regen. So again, mana problems, cooldown management problems. They just nerf all of that, but then they also buffed him slightly by making it so that his ultimate doesn't get straight up cancelled by a freaking Helmdom troll creep. So there's that. And overall, didn't do too much to him there. Made his early game a little bit worse here. The Shield Crash, like this was a pretty ridiculous ability that he can like jump over a cliff with this. When they changed that, but I'm just gonna nerf that. Puck, his level 20 talent is gonna get slightly changed here. A little bit better. Most people still go for the Illusionary Orb distance and speed anyway, I'm guessing. Pudge gets increased base damage. The Rot Slow has also been nerfed. Really nerfing Pudge. Increases damage, they nerf is slow. 7 more damage on Pudge. What are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with this? Like, I think you actually have to buy Aura Venom on Pudge now. Like, they've nerfed his Rot. Progressively nerfed it. Look. It went from 20%. 20% now to 11. What a sad, sad hero. Pugna base armor increased by 1. He's a very fast and slippery hero. It's actually... like, it's hard to get hits onto him. He's good range to trade as well. Slight buff to his trading early on. At level 15 talent. Plus 2... another ward health to 3. So whatever. I think most people still go for the blast cooldown. Queen of Pain, Sonic Wave damage has been increased. This spell felt like it just had too long of a cooldown, so they're going to buff that there. And then Scepter, it's also going to get increased there by this amount of damage as well. You don't buy Scepter too often on her, but if you have an IO or an Alchemist, free Scepters. They're going to nerf the damage output of Tricks of the Trade because it was too ridiculous. I'm okay with that. Fuck Ricky. Yeah, now level 3 Tricks of the Trade is only as good as level 1 in terms of its attacks. Attack rate. And that's all they're going to do there. Now Rubik. Telekinesis lift duration has been rescaled, nerfing it at earlier levels, but actually slightly buffing it at level 4 and 2 or 3. It's interesting. Wait, no. Only at level 4. Level 3 is still less. Slightly less. Very slightly less. That's strange how that works. Like, this is incentivizing you to actually just max it out, right? Which means that you have maybe less points in your other, your passive. Sand King, Caustic Finale no longer triggers when a unit is denied. Well, that's actually pretty big. So if they deny it, they won't take the damage from it. So before, like, you won't even want to deny if you're kind of low, because then you might just take a shit ton of damage and then kill yourself. But it's actually a nice change. Makes him slightly weaker in lane. So I actually watched a game earlier today where I think it was Vang's score or something. He leveled Caustic level 1 and he just like attacked the creeps. And the Terribly literally couldn't do shit. Like, he just, like, does he go to the creep wave? Their only option was like try to go for a kill, and they ended up killing them, but like it didn't matter. Like, he still took a ton of damage from like all these caustics, and then once his metamorphosis ran out, he just lost the lane. So I still think Sand King's really strong. I think this is a very unique way to nerf him, but I think it's a decent nerf. Shadow Demon, strength growth increased from 2.2 to 2.4. So increasing his survivability, which is actually pretty big on a hero like this. He's not that easy to kill, because like, you survive, he can imprison himself, imprison you, get some extra spells off. Increasing his strength growth. Keep in mind, it also increases your magic resistance as you go now. So with strength, you get more magic resistance. Might be okay, especially on like a support like this. Squishy support might be the target of enemy nukes. Okay, Shadow Fiend nerfs here. This level 10 talent gonna get reduced from 10% spell amp to 8%, getting further reduced there. Now his level 15 talent is gonna get reduced slightly from move speed by 5 move speed. It's very slight Shadow Fiend nerfs here. For Shadow Shaman, Ether Shock, effective area covered, not scaling properly with cast range bonuses. Same thing with like Dazzle, I guess. Not gonna comment too much on that. Silencer, Glaives of Wisdom is going to get buffed again. I made my Silencer guide on Pugna, and I talked about this pretty in depth, where they nerfed his Glaives, so it was like not really viable to level it anymore early, unless you're like owning and like super owning in terms of getting early game kills and getting early game int. But now I think it's okay to level it up early on. Like 40% at level 2 is decent. Because they nerfed everything. Because before it was 35 at level 1. They nerfed everything by 20, I believe. Because he gained a talent that gave him 20% Glaive's wisdom damage. Right there. See, level 25. That's at level 25. And they nerfed all his other levels because he gained this new level 25 talent. Which didn't really make sense. But now they're going to fix that slightly. Just slightly. By 10%. Global silence duration increased by half a second at level 1. Only 0.25, quarter of a second at level 2. And keeping it the same at level 3. Level 15 talent has been increased to the GPM, which actually is a really big deal because Silencer's a pretty item dependent hero to be relevant in the late game, needing either mass support items just to be viable because of his long cooldown of his ultimate, or his ultimate being potentially countered by things like BKBs, Lotus Orbs, Guardian Greaves. So he'll need either again, support items to be useful in another way, or have a refresher orb. So like that. Slark base HP regen increased even more, making him stronger in lane. I think Slark might be back, boys. Maybe not. Shadow, because I played with a couple of Slarks and he didn't seem bad. Shadow Dance move speed bonus also has been increased. They're literally buffing him in his weakness. Like, this is his weakness. I mean, this, I guess, is just a nice plus, but like his weakness is the laning stage, getting zoned out of laning stage, not being able to get level 6, but now they're just making that a little bit easier. Keep in mind, they just buffed his HP regen in the last patch, well, 2 patches ago or whatever, but buffing it again here. Spectral mana cost rescaled again. I believe they just buffed this in the previous patch as well. They're going to buff it again here, only costing 100 mana. I believe they buffed the damage or something last time. Now they're buffing the mana cost, lowering it. The illusions damage has also been increased. Instead of doing a flat 40, it does increase with levels. So overall buffs to Spectral. These are like, this hero is not picked at all. This hero is rarely not picked at all as well. They're buffing these carries, of course, and they're progressively buffing them as well, just slightly every patch. Spirit Breaker, Nether Strike's knockback now pushes the enemy twice the distance. The fuck? It double pushes them. Just blast them away. You're just gonna slam them back. 17%. Oh, that's his ultimate though. So it's only his ultimate, right? Not with Greater Bash? Because his ultimate applies Greater Bash. But I guess this is only his ultimate. So it just slaps them back there with his ultimate there. Greater, I'm assuming it like pushes them as far as, I guess, Beastmaster ultimate pushback, I guess. That's how far it would be. Greater Bash now gives you more move speed bonus to 17%. The memes. Storm Spirit. Level 15 talent increased from 300 health to 400 health. I don't know how much that matters. I still don't think you level that. Health is not the problem on a hero like Storm Spirit. Cleave distance increased for Sven. I remember they previously nerfed this. Now they're going to revert it, I guess. Just make it the same as Battle Fury. And same thing. His cleave is literally just Battle Fury. It's literally free Battle Fury now. No difference in radius or distance or whatever. That's all you need to know about that. Terrorblade base HP regen has been reduced. Big nerf to there in the laning stage. Like the opposite of the Slark, right? Because this guy's also vulnerable in lane. Potentially vulnerable. Now it's going to be even more vulnerable with this. Now reflection illusions disappear when the reflection slow debuff is removed. So if you like get any way to debuff or dispel the slow, it also gets rid of the illusion. They also nerf Sunder here, early level Sunders. It's keeping the same level 3. And the cast range of Sunder has also been reduced, which is actually a big deal. It's not by much, but like, there could be the difference between whether he gets at third center off with a level 25 talent or not, you know, because it actually felt like it had too long of a cast range. I like this. Okay. Timbersaw Whirling Death attribute reduction now considers bonus attributes. So now it will take in all your stats instead of just your base stats. And the attribute reduction is lowered, however, to account for this. It's pretty good if enemy has a bunch of, stat items. It's got to take that into account instead of just your base stats, which, most heroes in the late game, to make them better in the late game, of course, are going to have a lot of stats from items, like, butterflies and things like that, especially, hearts, stuff like that. Oh, what the heck? Why does it keep doing that? Alright, tiny tree grab area damage reduced. Oof. Oof. That's the splash damage it's talking about. It used to be 100% all levels, which I thought was ridiculous. Now it's 30%. Tiny's out. Tiny's done. His Tiny flying done. They've been aggressively nerfing him. I think he might be done. That's such a big nerf there. That is so big. This tree grab is useless. It's just like no splash damage anymore. You actually have to hit the target, which means you can't like deny a creep and then splash the enemy hero behind the creep for like 100% of their damage. Decreases his farm rate with tree grab and all of that. Like his overall like AoE splash damage in a team fight. If you saw like Abed Tiny, you're able to just go in a fight like Echo Saber, like hit in the fight and like wipe the floor with the enemy team. Like, nah, can't do that anymore. Splash is gone. 60%, even when you max it out, 60%. Like, this is brutal nerf to Tiny. Leech Seed duration increased. Buff the tree ant. Screw this hero. 1 extra pulse. I might play him again. I think he's actually pretty strong. Alrighty. Huh. Ooh, Ice Shards duration nerfed for Tusk. Only 4 seconds at level 1, which is big. It used to be 7 at all levels. Now you have to max it out for 7 seconds. Snowball speed has also been reduced. Now scaling instead of flat 675 speed. And the Sigil no longer gives flying vision. It only gives ground vision. So you can't like put it at the edge of the Roche pit or something and be able to see inside. This is a pretty big deal there. This is why it was so good, because you're able to scout Roche so easily. You can have Ice Shards, you can have Sigil, and then you can snowball in and steal. I'm expecting him to get nerfed, of course. Now Underlord's also probably going to get nerfed, right? Yeah. Firestorm no longer applies to Roshan, and Ancients Dark Rift mana cost is going to get increased, and this was one of his big problems actually, was having enough mana to cost Dark Rift. Because he would build like all these aura items, but he doesn't build any mana items directly other than like a soaring. So like burning Underlord's mana was like game winning in some scenarios with heroes like OD and Invoker. And now that Dark Rift costs 300 mana at level 3, that's a lot of mana that he has to have to make sure his team has a guaranteed escape. Buff to Undying here. Underutilized hero. And he's just going to get slight buff there to his Tombstone, increasing the spawn interval of the zombies at all levels. His talents are also going to get buffed here from plus 30 decay duration to plus 50. That lasts forever. What the fuck? Plus 50 decay duration? Level 20 talent. What was that over? Tombstone on Death. Huh. I haven't played Undying in forever. Level 20 talent increased from plus 4 Tombstone attacks to 6. I think you definitely go that, because the 30 Tombstone zombie damage doesn't do much. Makes it so they can clear like creeps really easily, but I don't get the point of that. Ursa, his base armor has been increased by 2. He's a beast in lane now. He's a beast. He was already like lane domination. More armor. He was already pretty good at trades. Being an agi hero. Like, how much armor does he have? What are his stats? Ah, that's pretty good. 8 armor, 9 armor almost. 8.5, 8.6 armor. It's pretty good. Ursa. I don't feel like this Undying change didn't do much. Ursa change, I'm not sure what that's gonna do. Let's make him viable. Maybe. You can't creep pull anymore, and if you're gonna lane normally, like if you want to just dominate the safe lane, you pick Ursa. Venomancer, Poison Nova duration has been increased by 2 seconds. Oh, that just lasts forever. That's insane. 18 seconds of Poison Nova. So, I don't even think Venomancer is that bad. We're going to slightly buff his ultimate there. Vizier's going to get a slight nerf. Very slight nerf here to his Grave Chill. And this was his strongest ability. This is the ability that he maxed out first. And it's just going to get very, very slight nerf here by like about a second and half a second at the earlier levels. Chaotic Offering is going to get buffed here with a health increase at the later levels, and also the Golem Permanent Immolation DPS is going to get increased at the later levels as well. The Golem felt too weak, even if you were like leveled up, right? And this hero levels up very, very quickly because of his freaking 60% experience gain talent. So you'll very easily max out your golems till level 18. Like once you get level 15, like you're getting level 25 after what the... And level 18, but like level 18 even level 18 golem, like is what I'm trying to say here, it felt like too weak. And now they're going to increase it by a whole 1,000 health and giving it 20 more DPS as well on its permanent immolation. You gotta fix that typo there. Weaver, health regen increased by 1. Swarm attack damage increased at all levels. So buff overall to Weaver. Again, he's underutilized carry. He doesn't feel like he can do enough. So I've seen team pick Weaver, and I think, what is it? A VGJ? Or VG, just VG, that pick Weaver, and I just feel like he's a strong enough hero, even though Paparazzi is like the best Weaver ever. But it's okay. It's buff to his laning stage. Swarm is nice as well. You can increase your kill potential. Will they actually make him OP, bring him back? I don't know. Probably not. Wind Ranger, was he ever even in the meta? It's just always a niche pick, but is he going to make him that much stronger? I don't think so. Power shot damage increased. Now, Wind Ranger, I feel like, could be potentially a very strong hero in the right lineups. It's a lot of damage for a power shot. I didn't increase it by too much, but like it was already a lot. Like this spell is like pretty ridiculous for like defending and stuff like that, spamming it. It's kind of a pseudo coddle. Focus fire attack speed increased as well. Focus fire now always fires on the target unless you're attacking another target or press stop and are not moving. What does that mean? So I'm assuming it just auto shoots, because now that you can like move around while focus firing, like it just auto shoots. You don't have to like click. You don't have to worry about clicking. Something like that. I don't play Wind Ranger, Wind Runner, so I don't know how that works. I literally don't play her at all. So something along those lines, right? I'm assuming. Winter Wyvern, Winter's curse duration has been increased. Now this hero It's OP as support. Didn't he just get buffed? No. Yeah, he did get buffed like 3 patches ago with his Arctic Burn, or her Arctic Burn. Girl? Winter Wyvern's a girl. Winter's Curse attack speed bonus reduced from 85 to 55. So it lasts longer, but they do less damage to each other because it's this attack speed bonus thing. And I don't know about that. You can lock them down for longer. It's gonna allow you to set up easier, but it's gonna be less deadly. But that's like the worst usage of Winter's Curse. It's when you just use the kill support. They're like, okay, now what? That's it. Like, the good Winter's Curses are the ones that actually set up your team for, like, their other spells, or, delay, so you can save someone or something like that. So I like this change. I dig it. 5.5 second stun through BKB. Theory. But you can't do damage. Now, Maledict cooldown has been 50-second cooldown at level 1. This spell was the reason why Witch Doctor is picked right now, and he's a popular hero. It gives you so much kill potential, even on tanky heroes. But it just got nerfed into the ground. That's almost as rough as the freaking Tiny nerf. I mean, it's the same at level 4, right? But, like, the reason why he was picked, because of this ability, and in the early game. Now he's more than 2 times the cooldown. And we're getting to the end here. Wraith Fire Blast for Wraith King has been reskipped. 95 mana? Oh, shit. This a good level 1 stun as well. Did you just get the Lush Track effect? Or are you just going to pick a Wraith King support, just spam stuns? Just imagine, bonus hero Wraith King with 2 mangoes, just spamming Wraith Fire Blast on your face for 95 mana. The cooldown has been increased, however. Oh, so you can't spam it. It's no longer 8 seconds at all levels. And they're making his level 10 talent useless. Dude, the 40 DPS was so good. But they're making it slow duration. Plus 1.5 second slow duration. Who cares? It's not even that much slow. 20% slow. Okay, so they buff it and then they nerf it. GG. And now for Zeus. An extra 0.5% of static field. And that is all. And this is it for the gameplay update 7.14. This is my patch analysis. It's been Hachi. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this. There's been some pretty significant changes, I gotta say. Actually, the biggest changes on any of these heroes, I would say, is Io. Look at all the changes for him. And Broodmother, I believe. For the most part, it was just some, warranted buffs and nerfs. And of course, there are some changes that were small that had big impact, like the Tiny change. I think Tiny is very bad now in lane, which was his strength. Because now you don't have anything. Because before you had crap ton of slash damage, which is what made up for, having very low armor, being very susceptible to just physical damage, not having any escape abilities other than like tossing a hero back. But now he doesn't even have his insane lane control with his tree grab, so I think he's just crap. We'll actually see, but I also hit some heroes, with some more slight nerfs. They nerfed some items as well. Most importantly, techies, and he's not changed. He's techies, unchanged techies. Techies is going to be broken. He's going to be seen in the next tournament for sure. Epicenter XL, whether he's going to work or not, really depends on the techies player and the teams that will play around it, because you pick techies and it completely changes the way the opponent has to draft and they have to play. He's probably not going to be a first pick until a team really masters him. But if you come in with a surprise techies pick, Ice has been practicing techies. You can see a team like Mineski get that late pick techies, and against certain lineups, if your team can play around techies properly, you literally cannot win. Because he has the control over the map where there's just some areas where your team cannot be, or if they need to go there, they need to go with a gem or with detection, right? Like, there's no yeah, their carry's just gonna go into this area and they're gonna be safe. Because you never know what traps are laying there, and a pick off on a carry that was like farming the enemy safe lane or like one of the enemy's camps could be game changing. That can lead into more kills, an objective, Roshan, etc. So we'll see how Techies plays out in the patch, but that's gonna be it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed watching my patch analysis of 7.14, and if you did, make sure you leave a like down below, as well as subscribe, as I do these patch analysis videos every 2 weeks, and they've been pretty nice so far. However, I'm missing the big changes. When are we going to get a real big change? Because we really haven't gotten that yet. Like a new item or something like that. And when's the next new hero? We'll find out. But I'll see you guys all later. It's been nice. Hachi, signing out.